Motul FIM Superbike World Championship makes its annual February start with a long-haul flight to Melbourne Airport and onward to Phillip Island. This otherwise European-based series, it's a once-a-year journey away from the old continent, but it's also an unmissable tradition at this motorcycling mecca. This is the 36th staging of the Australian rounds. The legendary Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit joined the World SBK calendar. Last on our list, Alex Lowe's at turn 10. This one immediately preceded by Lukey Heights, where he produced his memorable Race 2 victory over Alvaro Bautista as well. A unique limit of 10 laps per tyre because of heavy wear, so a weekend of high-speed sprints in prospect. Nicolo Bulliger toured in less than 88 seconds for the race lap record last season. "2024 finally saw BMW join the list of 7 manufacturers to have lifted the Riders' World title as Toprak Razgatlioglu battled back from injury to secure his 2nd world title. But there was no shortage of challengers. 12 different race leaders, 8 race winners, the most in 14 years, and 4 of those first-time victors. 13 riders enjoyed at least one rostrum finish, and all 5 manufacturers made the podium at least once. In a 23-rider permanent field, 19 are returnees, so we can expect more of the same as 2025 gets underway. No change in the commentary box either for the new season. Alex Raby and Steve English in position at turn 4 to bring you all of the action from race 1 of the Australian round. Just a single change to the calendar this year as well, with Ballaton Park set to make its delayed debut as the host of the Hungarian round. But Steve, there's no better place to start than Phillip Island. No less than 18 races here, decided by less than 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, blue skies, high temperatures, it's absolutely perfect if you're a fan trackside. If you're on the bike, it's a little bit windy right now, and the temperature really has come up quite a bit compared to what we've had throughout the course of this week so far. 35 degrees air temperature right now. We've been in and around 19, 20 all week. And then you've also got that hot wind that's blowing across. So we're used to the wind chill back home. Here it's the wind heat, and it's an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees depending on where it's coming from.
Year of stability in the rider market after the seismic changes in 2024 when Toprak Razgatlioglu moved to BMW and Jonathan Ray replaced him at Yamaha. Last year's 6 official teams all field unchanged lineups this season, so no reason to expect big change at the front. Toprak Razgatlioglu will again start as the favourite. He and manager Kenan Sofoglu made a calculated gamble last winter, moving to BMW, a manufacturer 4th of the 5 that had only won a single race in a decade. They were instantly rewarded with their first title. But BMW have had their wings clipped this year after losing the concession parts they benefited from in 2024, and Toprak's preparations have been hit by a broken right index finger in pre-season.
Yeah, for Toprak, he's come here and he's had minimal running with that new bike for this season. But as the weekends progressed, he's gotten more and more competitive front row start, and he needs to make sure he's able to deliver a podium.
Nicolo Bulliger was a title contender in his rookie World SBK campaign following Toprak Razgatlioglu's injury. Bulliger ultimately had to content himself with beating his world champion teammate Alvaro Bautista to 2nd overall. The 2015 Moto3 Junior World Champion finally delivering on his career's early promise. Brought back from the brink by the Ducati factory team, and they're now reaping the rewards. 2023 Supersport title for Bulliger, 24 podiums and 6 wins, helping them to the teams and manufacturers titles last year. As you can see, pit lane opening here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, and just making his way onto the track, Garrett Gerloff, brand new Kawasaki racing team, for Garrett Gerloff this season, now run by Pacetti, and the lone green bike for Garrett Gerloff. Key season for him after a couple of years rather in the wilderness with Bonovo BMW, but nothing to lose for him in this move really. The only way is certainly up for Pacetti, who've struggled for the last couple of seasons. Alvaro Bautista, Ducati's record-holding race winner, second on the all-time ranking, 63 victories. When Bautista's on form, he is untouchable. He recorded 17 crashes in 2024, the most of anyone, 9 non-scores in races. Since the addition of ballast as a result of the reference weight regulations introduced last year, he has struggled with confidence and setup. High-speed crash in pre-season at Portimao suggests he hasn't quite conquered the package just yet, but when it all clicks for Bautista, he can go on the rampage. 11 consecutive wins in 2019 and 23. That's why he's still a threat for this title.
Yeah, and for Alvaro, it's about trying to make sure he delivers from the outset, because if he puts himself in a hole in championship points, it's so difficult for him to get out of that once he's putting himself under pressure. He needs 3 podiums this weekend. He needs to make sure he keeps Bulaga honest.
Riders making their way out onto circuit then. This is Nicolo Bulaga, man on form throughout this week thus far. He dominated testing, he has dominated free practice, and he's taken pole position, albeit by a reduced margin over Toprak Razgatlioglu. There's no doubt about it though, Bulaga is the man to beat for long run pace here in Phillip Island.
100%. His 10-lap speed is really good, and for Bulaga it's about trying to make sure you're able to maximise that all the way through. Once you're in a race, it's different because Toprak's gonna unsettle you. He's gonna put his bike down the inside. He's gonna make it where it's very difficult for you. It's up to Bulaga to be able to react.
Look at the grid after Superpole this morning. Just as he started his rookie season a year ago, it's Nicolo Bulaga who takes top spot in Phillip Island. His 5th pole position and 10th front row start in 13 World SBK rounds. Very much following the run of form as he has taken every session so far this week. Bigger performance came from Toprak Razgatlioglu, the only non-Ducati on the front 2 rows of the grid, and less than a tenth of a second ahead or behind rival Bulaga, I should say. Toprak's 2nd front row start in Phillip Island, the 39th of his career. Andrea Iannone it is who completes the front row, with Bautista, Petrucci and Redding making it 5 Ducatis in the top 6 places. Panigale V4R is again the bike to beat here in Phillip Island.
Yeah, if you're an independent team, you want to be on the best bike. That's why Bonovo have switched from being an official BMW team to running the Ducati V4R. Scott Redding looks like a changed man, and he is ready for this season, more motivated than ever. 2nd row start for him. He's fast through the speed traps. He's going to be in the mix all the way through this race.
Bad news, unfortunately, for Jonathan Rea, world champion between 2015 and 2020. 7 times a race winner here in Phillip Island, but he's not going to add to that tally this season. His 2nd with Yamaha, and it has started really in the worst possible fashion. We thought round 1 last season was bad, even worse this season. He's out with an ankle injury sustained on the opening day of testing at the start of this week in Phillip Island.
Yeah, such a shame for Johnny, because the winter had actually gone quite well. The Jerez test in November was all about changing his crew chief, and then the January tests were all about getting that feeling right with the bike. Unfortunately for him, as the bike barrel rolled, it hit him, and he's got some fractures of bones in his feet. But for Johnny, it's about trying to get yourself ready now for as soon as possible to return on the bike. It looks like probably Cremona is a realistic date for his comeback. So for Jonathan Rea, for the 65 crew, it effectively means that for the first quarter of the season, he could be ruled out.
Bad news for Jonathan Rea. It's, of course, terrible news for Yamaha as well, because they lose their big signing and the big effort they put in to prize him away from Kawasaki, remember, for last season. It's rather been undone by a disappointing first season and now this injury. He's not alone on the injury list, unfortunately. Iker Lecuona, already carrying an injured rib after pre-season incident, has been ruled out of this weekend after Superpole. Fractured 4th metatarsal on his left foot is the result of this crash.
Yeah, and it's a shame for Iker because he needs the miles, and this is the unfortunate reality for Honda, that with Lecuona, they've just missed too many races because of injuries.
Making our way then up through the grid. Top Yamaha on the grid is Andrea Locatelli. He'll be starting from P8 alongside Remy Gardner. And then the top Bimota, Alex Lowe's, will be starting in 10th place. There was nothing to choose between the riders in the pack, really, from 4th position downwards, top 3 breaking away slightly. But a tenth of a second here or there made a big difference in terms of positions in Superpole this morning.
Yeah, it was interesting, actually, just to take Lowe's as an example. There was only Safoglu and Rabat on the grid that were slower through the speed trap than him, but he was still able to come up with that fourth row of the grid. It's so close in that mid-pack that you can't really afford to be out in any individual area.
Here is your grid in full then, starting with Nicolo Bulliger, the man who stunned last year with pole and a race win here in Phillip Island on what was his World SBK debut. Wasn't until the final 2 rounds, though, that he really came of age. Won the Superpole race in Estoril, that closest finish of all time, then took the fight to Top Rack in Jerez, beat him twice there, and raised his season's tally to 6 wins. So looks as though he's picked up where he left off, and Bulliger is going to be a genuine title contender this season. Alongside him on the front row, Toprak Razgatlioglu really was at the peak of his powers last season. Took him only 2 rounds to get his first wins with BMW. He then went on the rampage, record run of 13 consecutive victories that sent him towards the 11 rider club of double title winners, 2021 and 2024 for Toprak Razgatlioglu, BMW's first ever #1.
And for Toprak, 7 podiums here at Phillip Island. He needs to make sure he's able to add to last year's tally where he had a podium on the BMW. But for Razgatlioglu, you could see there the bag of ice. That's for a right index finger injury. He fractured that earlier in the winter, and it's really hampered his progress all the way through the winter test. He had to skip a lot of it, and now he comes here a little bit behind the curve in terms of his mileage.
Completing the front row of the grid is Andrea Iannone, podium finisher on Phillip Island in Moto2, MotoGP and World SBK after a 3rd place finish on his debut for Go 11 here last season. But after that stunning start, he only added 4 more podiums in the rest of the year, finished 8th overall. His target is to find greater consistency in 2025, and we'll see how he gets on here.
I think it's one of those situations for Iannone where we know how good he is at this circuit. He needs to show it when we get to Portimao and plenty of other places that he's got that consistency.
Down on the grid with the main man, the reigning world champion, Toprak Razgatlioglu, is our own main man, Anthony Nelson.
Alex, I'm just waiting alongside Toprak. He's just going to very quick debrief at the minute from Phil Marin. Obviously, he's quite late to the grid, actually, Toprak, compared to some of the riders. He was the last rider to arrive on the front row, so they're getting just a little bit of a debrief at the moment.
OK, we'll come back to you as soon as we can, Anthony. Thanks for the update. We've just seen Andrea Iannone, 3rd position on the grid for him. This is the 2nd row with Alvaro Bautista, Danilo Petrucci and Scott Redding. Bautista, track specialist here in Phillip Island, pulled off a hat-trick at this venue in 2019 and 2023. 8 wins in all from 15 starts, but he went winless here last year after losing out to an inspired Alex Lowes in race 2. Only 1 podium from 3 races at the 2024 Australian round for Bautista. He'll be looking for better this weekend.
Yeah, for Alvaro, it's about trying to make sure he's able to convert a good qualifying position on the 2nd row of the grid into podiums this weekend.
Danilo Petrucci in P5 saw his 2024 season interrupted by a severe motocross training injury, bounced back with a superb mid-season run, 9 podiums in 12 races, including his first wins in World SBK, dominating the Italian round with a hat-trick in Cremona. 9 races since then without a rostrum finish, so looking to get back to his best here. Podium finisher in our most recent race on Phillip Island. He was 3rd in race 2 of the 2024 Australian round.
Yeah, and really important for Petrucci as well to back up what we saw from him in the second half of last year when he picked up those 3 wins in Cremona. He's got that momentum, and he's got a lot of speed for this year. And
completing the 2nd row of the grid, it's Scott Redding. Scored just 5 points in Phillip Island last season, didn't get much better from there. Last of the 4 BMWs down in 15th in 2024. The last of 3 years lost on a bike he never suited. But remember, on the Ducati, he was British champion in 2019, 2nd and 3rd in 2 years with the factory team in the World Championship. 12 race wins. He's hoping to add to that tally for the first time since the 2021 Argentinian round. Anthony Nelson down on the grid. Are you in position? We've got Toprak on our screens.
I am in position now, Alex. There's a lot of people around here, a lot of attention on the reigning world champion, first race with this #1. It's been a difficult weekend. You're on the front row of the grid. What can you do to battle the Ducatis here?
Well, I think everyone knows it's not easy to battle with the Ducati here. I will try my best like I always. We will see. You know, I'm just thinking the podium. I'm not easy to fighting with the Bulega because he's very strong. Yeah. But I will do my best. We will see.
Has that changed a lot since Super Bowl?
Yeah, but because very hot condition now, unbelievable hot. And first time I see the Phillip Islands like this. This is for everyone, I know. But especially with my bike is not good. Okay, everyone is not easy to ride in the bike, the whole convention, because the rear tire is less grip. But for Ducati, it's not so the big difference. But the BMW now getting more worse, the grip. But anyway, you know, I say again, I will try to my best. We will see. Thank you.
Well, best of luck, Toprak. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Third row of the grid with Michael van der Mark, Andrea Locatelli and Remy Gardner. This is Locatelli, P8 for him, put in his best weekend of 2024 here in Phillip Island, had 2 second places, could have made it 3 podiums out of 3, but for a final lap spill, trying to chase down Alvaro Bautista for victory. Rest of the season, though, was a disappointment. Yielded only 2 more podiums and 7th in the championship. Andrea Locatelli still chasing his first race win.
Yeah, and for Locke, he's pretty much always been in the top 5 here at Phillip Island. If he comes away with a top 5 finish on the Yamaha today, he's actually done a really good job. That bike, it's a little bit outgunned right now compared to the Ducatis and the BMWs in front of him.
Remy Gardner, the lone home representative, born in Sydney, hasn't really had the best of luck in the last 2 Australian rounds. Just 10 points in 2023 and only 8 here last season. The 2021 Moto2 World Champion finished 10th overall last year, picked up his first podium, now embarks on his 3rd season with GRT Yamaha.
Yeah, and Remy very strong for the first 3 sectors in his Super Pole lap. Lost a little bit in that final sector, but able to do a very good job to come away with the 3rd row of the grid.
As we see the images from above here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, one of the most popular venues of the season, and a look at the grid as a whole. Let's move on as we pick up the first of our Bimota riders. Alex Lowe's, Bimota becoming a 6th manufacturer for World SBK in 2025 with their new model, the KB998, Bimota by Kawasaki Racing Team. Historic brand for the championship. Bimota, who won the first ever race in the inaugural 1988 season, left the series full-time after 91 and have made brief returns in 2014. That project will still be fielded by Provec Racing and an unchanged rider lineup of Alex Lowe's and Axel Bassani. This is Sam Lowe's, started his rookie World SBK campaign well here a year ago, but it actually proved the only round he finished with 3 scoring results. Unfamiliar venues, new tyres, tougher than anticipated adaptation to superbike machinery, all compounded by mid-season shoulder injuries. But Lowe's, a 10 times race winner in Moto2, an experienced campaigner.
Yeah, and I think for Sam, important to start the season strong. Last year they had problems with the pit stop in race 1. It's all about trying to make sure that those mistakes have been ironed out and then they're able to just get the best result possible.
Javi Vierke, 108 race starts for Honda, placing him 5th in the manufacturer's all-time appearance records in World SBK. But in those 3 years, he's delivered just 1 podium, the 2023 Indonesian round. Honda well adrift in the manufacturer's championship last season, certainly have a lot of work to do. This is Jari Montella, world number 3 in Supersport last year with 7 race victories. Montella steps up with Barney Ducati from Supersport. Watch out for him this weekend. Phillip Island has been his best venue, joint with Kenan Sofoglu with 3 wins at this venue in Supersport, including his first in 2022 and the double last year. Best possible venue for him to make his World SBK debut. Axel Bassani, P14, in his 2nd season now as factory rider, and big pressure on his shoulders. Came in with high expectations, having battled the factory Ducati of Michael Ruben Rinaldi while he was with Moto Corsa in 2023. But he was a long way adrift of teammate Alex Lowe's throughout 24. Didn't make the top 10 here last season on his debut with Kawasaki. We really only saw the best of him in visits to Misano and Cremona. Dominic Egerter, P15, 6th in the opening race of 2024 here in Phillip Island. That was as good as it got last season for Egerter. His season again interrupted by injury. Former Supersport and Moto E champion, now in his 3rd campaign with GRT Yamaha in World SBK. 2025 is make or break for him.
Yeah, 3 top 10s here last year. He needs to get something around that, but realistically 3 top 12s would probably be a decent result for the GRT rider.
Ryan Vickers making his first World SBK appearance since a single outing with Pedicini at Most in 2022. Now embarks on his rookie season in the championship with Moto Corsa. Vickers was among the front runners in the British Championship last season with 7 race wins. Garrett Gerloff, as we've said, making his debut for Kawasaki. This will be his 3rd different manufacturer in World SBK. Gerloff recorded 6 podiums with Yamaha between 2020 and 2022 and posted podiums in Manicourt and Aragon in the BMW last year. 9th overall Bull in 2024, the better of his 2 years with the German manufacturer. The safety car pulls away to advise 5 minutes to the race start. It is a brand new vehicle for 2025 in World SBK, and we've got a brand new cast of riders as well. Just about time to go racing here in Phillip Island. For the first time in 2025, we've got a 21 rider cast about to get underway with a unique pit stop race on the islands. The Mottle FIA